Hey, Paul from MANIC Salamander here. I'm here to show you how to install and use the Zip-On power outlet.
So here's the victim of the day. It's a 1997 Kawasaki Concourse, my favorite transcontinental touring bike. I go a lot of places with Vanessa on the back, so I'm going to put on a dual SAE Zip-On power outlet. I've already got two there I cobbled together. They're not really, they're dangling like everyone else's. Really difficult to install. They're kind of a reach, you got to bend over. Obviously it takes a little practice to use them one-handed. And if you want to take them off, you got to bend around on the side covers. That's no good. So I'm going to take this out. Got to see where I can put it and whether the wires will reach to the battery from there. This place looks promising. That grab handle I never use. It's to get the bike on the center stand, but I always use the one to the rear. So that's pretty promising. I could have it pointed down. I could have it pointed out. But where else? Just take a look at our options. Now that's on the rear foot peg mount. That's not so good. It's in the wheel well and it'll get all splattered and corroded. And there's the back handle. I guess I'd rather not use that. It's a far reach, but let's see what it feels like when I'm on the bike. Just got to imagine Vanessa sitting on the back and me reaching around her. Not that great. I like that fairing mount or handlebar. Some bikes have handlebar clamps, but mine doesn't. It would go there really well. But yeah, that first place, that's pretty good. It's right between my seat and her seat, so you got his and hers outlets, and both of us can reach it. Her cord doesn't have to go past me to the handlebars, so I like that for this install. Let's pull the bike apart and see what the practicalities are as far as where the batteries are, where the wires got to go. And this is the battery cover. On my bike it's a cover, it'll expose the battery in the terminals. That'll come out easy enough. Gotta be careful of those screws there. Put them in the tray before they fall out on the grass. And there's the battery. Pulling off the negative terminal first. You want to always pull off the negative terminal first and the positive terminal second. And you put the negative terminal on last, because the negative terminal lights up the whole chassis with negative, where the positive is all hidden away. So the negative's one that you want to keep disconnected for the longest, just to make sure not to blow any fuses or the battery. And here's the old install, just the thing I cobbled together, and I pulled that out. Best not to leave in, all the old stuff unless you really need it. The more stuff you got on your bike, the more likely something is to go wrong when you're on the road. So, I like the black side up. I like it so much I'm going to put the wire coming out the wrong way just so I can have it black side up. I've obviously got plenty of wire, so this is going to be a cinch. Now here's the rubber pad that you stick to the zip-on power outlet so it won't mar the thing that you attach it to. It's got a sticky back, so it's really easy. Good to kind of knead it on there, make sure it's got good contact. And here's our zip ties. We'll need those. Got to kind of plan ahead to make it so the head can't be seen, and so it has a good mechanical angle to hold the thing still. So there's one. That'll be your preview right there. But I supply you with 3 to give it pretty good stability. I supply you with more than 3, but 3 is how many you can use to attach it. Now looking at that old side cover, I figured out that running the wire just straight up and back would keep it out of the way of that side cover. So that's what we're going to do as soon as I'm done clipping off the ends. There we go, just straight back there. It'll stay protected by the heat shrink that's over the side that's near the connector. We'll zip tie that down just to keep it where it belongs. Now this one, I'm taking the second piece of heat shrink that's pre-installed on the harness, and I'm just going to put it there. Because this is almost the place where the wire's going to have to split off away from each other to meet the terminals. You try to put the heat shrink in whatever spot you expect it to be most likely to be rubbed or strained in any way, or if there's something hot, which you should definitely avoid. But if you're say going above the cylinder head or around where the handlebars turn, that would be a good place for that second piece of heat shrink. For me, there's no real high stakes spots along this route, so I'm just going to leave it here. And this is the positive terminal. It's the other end of the fuse. It comes detached from the harness. So I'm pulling out all the fuses. Got to pick which one. You won't be able to read them in the video, but the amperage rating is on the end caps written on the sides, only on one end. Good to put terminal grease, dielectric grease, on the 2 ends of the fuse you pick, which should be a little bit more than the amount of current you expect to be drawn by the things you plug in. And you can just kind of wiggle that into that freestanding fuse holder. And now you want that to hang down, and that's what the packet of silicone grease looks like that came with your thing. Now it's hanging down. You want it to hang down to the fuse holder from the battery. That keeps the rain off of it. And now you snake it up, as you see through the positive hood. You can snake it up with the main terminal. And the negatives always bare anyway, because, you know, it's the whole frame voltage, so it doesn't need to be hooded. And I put contact grease on those too. If yours aren't shiny, you should make them shiny first. You'll see that in the written instructions. So I'm going to reattach the positive terminal first. Got to be careful. You can usually pick up the nut that's in the holder without actually touching the nut with a screwdriver, by holding the terminals down really snug like I'm doing. But if you don't, you can usually jam a small screwdriver in there to pick the nut up so that the screw can reach it. And put the hood over top. That side's done. Same basic deal on the negative side. I'm a little bit lucky. My battery allows the screw to pick the nut up if I hold the terminals down. You could have possibly a little more trouble than me. On the positive side, you got to watch it that your screwdriver doesn't also touch the frame or something else made of metal. You got to be careful. Negative side, no big deal. I'm holding the terminals from turning in that last little bit so that they're pointing the way the manufacturer meant it to. That'll make this cover fit on better. Installation is the reverse of removal. Where have you heard that before? And now we got extra wire here. Your kit comes with enough stuff to splice that wire to a shorter length if you want it to be tidy and hidden. But if you'll get a better connection, unless you have really good crimping tools and stuff, you'll get a better connection by just leaving the wires whole and kind of curling them up and zip tying them and putting them in the battery tray. I've done this install on several bikes, and there's always some place under the seat that's a good spot to put this little spool of wire. When I do my installs for myself, you know, not for a demo, I usually get butt splice connectors that you crimp on, and I've got some nice ratchet crimpers, and that's the best job you could do. But this will be fine. You won't know the difference. Now with this direct battery connection, it's unswitched, it's always on, and there's dangers in that. Like if you leave something plugged in, it could wear down your battery real quick. But on the bright side, you can plug in something like a battery tender, you know, trickle charger. You can charge your battery right through that connector. You never even have to pull one thing off of your bike to charge your battery or to measure your battery voltage. So that's pretty cool. That's the way I do it on my bikes. I don't switch them. I leave them unswitched, just like in the instructions. So now we're putting it all together again, and just as I was hoping, that side cover just goes right on. The installation is completely transparent as far as pulling the bike apart. I like that because I do all my own maintenance. There, no crap underneath either, hanging down. It's all tidy. There's the seat. Voila! And there she is. Not too bad. And here's what it looks like. I'm sitting on the seat. I just reach back and plug it in. It stays still for me. And Vanessa can plug hers in too.